Hi everybody, I'm Frank O'Brien and welcome to robertfranciswine.ie. Today in the latest of my video vlogs I'm reviewing a value wine from Spain. And Spain really is where it's at the moment when it comes to value. There's some fantastic wines coming out of Spain in that under €12 bracket. They're coming from Navarra, La Mancha, even some of them are coming from Ribera or even from Rioja. But we have a huge history here in Ireland with loving Spanish wines. Riojan wines have been huge here, whether it's the Faustinos or the Marqués de Caceres or Caceres, however you pronounce it. These wines have been top sellers in Ireland for years, and we just love the flavours that Tempranillo wines really do deliver. You get lovely strawberries, there's a nice hint of vanilla in the background, there's some oak. They tend to go really well with food or without food, and we've all been to Spain on holidays and enjoyed the wines there. So they really have been a huge hit here in Ireland. So today I'm reviewing one that's available in Cases Wine Warehouse in Galway. This retails for around €10 a bottle. I think it was $9.99 when I bought it. And it's the Vinas De Radiquero from Somontano. Apologies if I pronounced that wrong. You won't be able to see it actually if I hold it any closer. In the old days when I set the camera a bit closer you could hold it there, but I'll put up a picture at the start of the video blog as I always do. So we're going to have a look at this wine. This wine is actually a blend of Tempranillo and Cabernet Sauvignon. And Tempranillo, just to get back to it, really is the predominant grape variety in Spain. Grenache or Garnacha as it is known in Spain is grown more, but Tempranillo is really the one that we associate with Spain. And a lot of producers now are starting to blend in a little bit of Cabernet Sauvignon just to give it a little bit extra oomph or a little bit extra structure or body, just to hold it together a little bit more. Similar to when they blend in a little bit of Colorino into Sangiovese and Chianti. Just helps, you know, their buddies, and it helps kind of really come together to make a good or slightly better wine. So let's get straight into the wine. So this is the 2007. It says on the back here that Somontano is one at the bottom of the Pyrenees and one of Spain's most modern DOs. So DO in Spain is what they refer to wine regions as. It's the Miniac de Original, apologies again if the pronunciation is wrong, but they're DOs and they're DOCs in Italy. They're just wine regions, you know, Appalachian Controles, ACs in France. It's just the term that is used to rule out a specific area or zone. So the most famous ones in Spain are Rioja, Ribera del Duero, Toro has really become popular lately. Navarra and La Mancha have been great for value wines, and I've reviewed a couple of them on the blogs. So if you are looking for value Spanish wine, make sure to check back through the blog under Spanish wines categories, and you should find some of the ones that I've reviewed. So just move this bottle out of the way here. Straight away we have a nice kind of red purple colour. This wine kind of a cherry black garnet colour in the middle there. But it's got medium colour intensity. I mean, I can't see my fingers through it or anything, so denser than a Pinot Noir, but we're not up in really dark, opaque Cabernet Sauvignon territory. And on the nose, there's an initial hit of wood actually. I don't know if this wine has done any time in oak. It says all three are on oak dry, but there is an initial hit of wood rather than oak treatment. But it smells just, you know, like a 4x2 piece of wood or something. There's a little bit of black fruit as well in the background coming from the Cabernet Sauvignon, and there's obviously red fruits and strawberries predominantly that we get from the Tempranillo. On the nose initial impression is it smells a little bit boring and it smells a little bit weak. You know? It's not really delivering any kind of depth or weight on the palate. It actually smells a little bit thin. So a little bit concerned, but let's see how it delivers on the palate. Just give that another go. Right. My initial concerns were correct. This wine is very light on the palate. It's a bit too light for me. I would have liked something with a little more weight to it. Generally, A lot of the time, this is even lighter than a Grenache. You know, you would expect the Tempranillo blended with some Cabernet Sauvignon to have a little bit more weight to it. I find the fruit a little bit bitter, and a little bit kind of just disappears on you on the palate. There's no real mid palate to this wine, and to be honest, all I'm left with on the finish is a sense of bitterness and a kind of a woody taste in my mouth. Now, I don't think this wine has actually done any oak, but I'm thinking there's a stalkiness to this wine that, you know, really just isn't terribly pleasant. This wine reminds me a lot of a Rioja that I tasted from Lidl that was more expensive than this, but really just didn't deliver for me. I think I gave that 78 points. I think this wine is a little bit better than that. I think it's also cheaper, but that's not going to influence the scores in any way. I do think I'd have to kind of go 79, 80 points on this wine. I'm not enjoying it. I think the fruit has totally faded. I think there's some harsh tannins, well, not really tannins, but just a bitterness on the palate. It really isn't terribly enjoyable. I think actually 78 points is probably a fair score. Really not my cup of tea. Now, you know, I'm sure when Casey's bought it in, it was something that they wanted and that they tried and that they liked, but it's just not doing it for me. It's on the screw cap, so I don't think it's obviously not going to be corked, but really just doesn't deliver for me. So unfortunately, a bit of a bum note to end the episode on. But if you have had a Spanish wine, and like I said earlier, there are loads of great Spanish wines out there. I definitely think if you will have had one at some stage, whether it's a Vinasol or a Torres or whatever, you will definitely have a Spanish wine. But if you post a comment and leave me a little message just to say what you thought about them or whether you'd like to know more about them, I can do more Spanish wine shows if that's the case. Alright, and we'll see you next time on robertfranciswine.ie.